everybody. I'm Coach Rebecca Smith, and I am here to help your athlete build confidence, overcome fear, and learn to trust themselves. Today, I'm talking to the sport parents. Okay, let's be real. It's Facebook, so I'm always talking to the sport parents because there are no young people here, just us. But hi, sport parents. Today, I'm going to give you a crash course in helping your athlete build confidence. And I'm going to just jam through, give you as much as I possibly can in just a few minutes. And then you can always ask me questions if you are here live, or feel free to put comments in or send me a direct message. I love helping parents navigate the sport journey with their kids because it's not for cupcakes. Let me say, like, sport parenting is its own sport and should get medals and trophies because it's, I think, just as hard. So let's go into the 4 inputs that build confidence. So these are the 4 things that your athlete needs to get a handle on in order to be their very best, to be their most confident, to be their happiest, to be their best in performance. They need 4 things. Number 1, this one is obvious, physical training. Okay. And so for each of these inputs, I'm going to talk about what you, the sport parent, can do to contribute to this. So you can't go and get strong for them. You can't go do the training for them. Obviously, this is something they have to do. So your job here is to pay the coaches, drive, sign them up for private lessons, take them to their competitions, get them special coaching, whatever you can do that can help them with the physical aspect so that their body is physically trained for battle. Okay, that's input number 1 is the physical. Input number 2 is rest and recovery. Now, you also cannot sleep for them. You cannot make them sit down. You cannot make them go to sleep. I am already learning this with my 5-year-old. I snuck by her room and I see this little glow and I was like, oh, it's already started. She had found her little school iPad and was like hiding in her covers doing like, oh, I was like, oh boy. Getting kids to sleep. That's a story. But anyway, what you can do to help with this rest and recovery piece is you can help to keep the schedule manageable so that you can prioritize sleep. So if you have got your child scheduled in a way that does not allow them to get 8 to 9 hours of sleep minimum, that is a place that you can help them. Because I'm telling you, I work with a ton of kids who have fears, anxiety, mental blocks where their bodies are actually freezing up and they can't do skills that they have previously been able to do. The quickest way to get you feeling more confident is to get more sleep. Like if you have to drop a class, if you have to leave school early or work out some like special situation with school, if you have to do one less day of practice. I talked with Dr. Shane Criado, who is a peak performance sleep expert. And he was like, yeah, you're better off practicing less and sleeping more a lot of the time. Okay. You also want to give them downtime to prevent burnout. Go on that vacation. I know like some coaches are going to be like, no, don't go on vacation. Go on that vacation. Take that week and go to grandma's. Like do the thing that allows the athlete to have that physical rest and recovery. Okay, that's input number 2. Input number 3 that contributes to confidence is nutrition and hydration. Okay, many of you guys probably know Christina Anderson. She calls herself the gymnast RDN or the gymnast nutritionist. I adore her. She's a dear friend. She has so many free resources. So nutrition and hydration. If you are not resting and you're not feeding yourself properly and hydrating, you can't be as confident because your brain is running on fumes. And if your brain is running on fumes, you don't have that wherewithal to get out of your comfort zone and really get aggressive or, like that little extra bit of energy that makes all the difference. So what you can do is learn for yourself, what does your athlete need in the different stages of training and the different times of day. And then you can set them up for success by having the right ingredients in the house. Now, I know some of you have teenagers who you're like ships passing in the night and, maybe you're making food for them. Maybe they're making their own food. But knowing what they need and then having those ingredients in the house. And then the 4th input, of course, is my favorite. It's mental training. So you can train them, you can train the body, you can rest it well, you can feed it well, and you can hydrate it. But if you miss the mental training piece, you're not going to have the maximum confidence and the peak performance. So some families, mom is the sports psychologist, totally okay, or dad, the like mental coach in the car is like, we're going to do affirmations and let's be really positive. Really doesn't matter who does it. Some people outsource it because mom is sick of playing therapist, and that's where we come in with Perform Happy. But mental training is a critical part of the athlete confidence, which you already know, which is why you're even listening to this. Okay. So then there's this problem that happens in adolescents and teenagers called resistance. So you might already know everything I just said. You're like, yeah, I know that. I know that's what they need, but like try to get her to put down the iPad and go to sleep, or try to get her to eat healthy. It's like, oh, sometimes it feels like a lost cause. They don't want to go to practice sometimes, or they don't want to go to sleep, or they don't want to eat healthy, and they don't want to work on mental training. They don't want to do all that stuff. They just want to be 12. So here's what doesn't work. If you want to set your kid up for success, those are the 4 things that they need. Those are also 4 things that are not that easy to get kids to do. So here's what doesn't work. Telling your kid how you feel, or your thoughts around it, or your reasons why they should. Okay. If you're like, if I go to my 5-year-old, I'm like, you really need to get good sleep so that you can have a good day tomorrow. She doesn't care. She's like, yeah, iPad. If I'm like, I'm so sad that you're not getting enough sleep, she's like, that's nice, mom, go away. Those thoughts, feelings, or reasons do not change people's behavior. You can't just tell people like, I want you to behave differently, and then they change, right? That's not how it works. And then you add this layer of, if you're dealing with a teenager, if you give them anything to push back on, like the sky is blue, they're going to be like, it's a light blue. They're going to push back. If you give them anything to push against, they will push back. That's literally their job. That is their developmental task, is to be individuating, to be separating and differentiating from you. So they're supposed to be like, the sky is dark blue, the sky is lavender. They're supposed to be feeling out what it's like to be different and separate from you, and to not need your help and not want your help. So with that in mind, okay, so here we're in this like rock and a hard place. We're like, we know you need this. You are resisting it. If I tell you to do it, you're going to be even less likely to want to do it. What do we do with these children who we adore and love and who drive us so nuts sometimes? Here's what you do. You ask better questions and you listen more. Okay? You have to, in order to really allow your athlete to tune into what they need, you have to help them find their own reasons to want to change. They do not care about your reasons. They don't care that you don't want, my 5-year-old does not care that I don't want her to be a grumpy, sassy disaster all day tomorrow, so I want her to get sleep so she'll be sweet. She doesn't care about that. She only cares about what she wants. So what you have to do is help your athlete find their reason. What is her reason? Why would my 5-year-old want to put the iPad away? So what I do, instead of like yelling and screaming and telling her and explaining to her, I go, what are we going to do about this, buddy? We got to figure out a way. Cause I also want to be on my iPad all night, but I know I need sleep. What should we do? And we get curious. Okay. So here's what you can do, the parent. There are 3 things that you can focus on. Number 1 is strengthening your bond of trust. That's the key, is relationships here. So if you are the like authoritarian who's always telling them, you got to do this, their internal motivation is going to go down. They're going to be like, they'll do it. They'll be compliant, usually up to like age 10, 11. And then when they get about 12, they're like, well, maybe I don't want to do it your way. That's their job, right? That is their developmental task. So instead of being their coach, think of it like you are their teammate. And you're like, hey, buddy, how are you? How's this going? What do you think? You start to just focus on the trust in that relationship rather than your outcome. Like, I want her to sleep more. Okay, but I want to make sure that we're working together to find a good solution. So your job is not to motivate your child to do what you want them to do, but to instead enhance their internal motivation to change by exploring any little inconsistencies in their thought processes. Okay. So what we do is we go in and we're like, here's what I see you're doing right. This is amazing. And you build that relationship, you build that trust, you show them what you like about what they're doing. Like, I like that my daughter was learning last night. I was like, that's so cool that you're so interested in reading right now that you want to learn and learn and learn. That's amazing. And I did not yell, and I did not like lay down the law. I affirmed what she was doing right. And then, as we talk more, it's going to be about like that internal motivation of like, how can we allow you to learn and have some time to do this thing you want to do, but also get enough sleep so that you can feel happy. And, like, let's just think about this. And what we're doing is building that relationship. So when you have a relationship in place, then they actually want to come to you and go, I don't know, Mom, what do you think? Or I don't know, Dad, what do you think? Okay, so that first thing to do is strengthen the bond of trust and build that relationship. The second thing is to gather info. If you don't actually know what's going on, you're not going to be able to transmit that to them. So you want to like get more information about what's going on in your athlete. Ask curious questions. You might find out that there's a whole thing in the gym where all the kids only eat a certain thing because somebody said and somebody saw something on social media. It's like, you want to know that, right? Or they have a friend who's grounded and can only talk at night, and so they're texting at night. Like you want to know, get really curious about like all kinds of stuff, but with that understanding and love as the foundation. You're not judging, you are collaborating, and you are showing unconditional love. You're just asking really great questions that are open-ended, that it's not like yes or no questions. You're asking good questions, you're listening. And you also have to know that you are not going to change your child in one car ride or one really great question. This is something that builds over time. Okay, then the third thing that you can do is self-care. So getting support from other like-minded parents can be very helpful. You can journal. If you feel like you don't have a safe place where you can kind of vent in a constructive way, journal. What's in this for you? Why is this so stressful for you? Why is it that I need her to sleep? It's like I can think back to when I was 14 and my stepdad's yelling at me about turn off the light and shut the door. So it's like I've got my own baggage about I really want to be like a cool mom, and I really want to be so helpful, and I know I want to have a relationship with her. And then, it's like we have our own stuff that colors every parenting decision that we make. So having, your own therapist or your journal or a group of like-minded people where you can just like bleh, can be very helpful, because that can help you find neutral, where you can go to like, this is just facts and data. It doesn't have to be judgment. There doesn't have to be like, it's not a win-lose situation. It's not a right, wrong. We're just trying to get our kids raised in the happiest, healthiest, most confident way. And then a third thing I can add to the self-care list is to find some positive distractions. One of the moms in Perform Happy, put in the Facebook group recently, just like, we're going to the state meet and I'm freaking out. Oh, and I'm like, this is the same thing I say to the athletes who are freaking out. Find a positive distraction. Maybe you're chatting with your teammate. Maybe you are reading a book in the car, if you can do that without getting car sick. But same with parents. Find a positive distraction. Pay attention to something else. If thinking about your athlete's sport stresses you the heck out, well, watch a new show, like call a friend, go for a walk, do something else that gives you enough time to kind of like get some space from the freak out. Okay, now in the meantime, as you're building this relationship and you're asking those great questions and you're building that trust and you're taking care of yourself, you can also be increasing your understanding about those 4 inputs. Okay, like how much downtime does an athlete need? What nutrition can support the growing body of my athlete? What perspective change will help them to thrive under pressure? So that way you're building your relationship, you're getting your info, and then when/if they come to you, you will be ready. And you'll have the answer. And you'll go, yeah, I've actually looked into this. And I think if we did this, it would be very useful. Rather than you like cramming it down their throat when they're not ready for it and all they want to do is push back. So this is one of the main reasons why I have set up the Perform Happy community the way I did, because we have actually, fun fact, we started Perform Happy for sport parents with Q&As and trainings for parents. And then all the parents were like, okay, I don't want to be the sports psychologist anymore. Can you just take over? And like, I could just be mom and you can do it. So we teach the mental training to the kids so parents don't have to, but we also teach parents about all of the inputs. And of course, it's like, it's not one thing to add to your crazy busy plate, but it is this massive amount of resources that you have access to if you are already a Perform Happy member or if you're interested in it. Like, for example, Christina Anderson has a whole nutrition course just for us in Perform Happy. We've got Fern Weiss, who's a parenting coach, who she's got workshops on anxious parents and anxious kids. She's got all kinds of different workshops she's done for us. Dr. Criado talks about the importance of sleep. I have a whole mini course for parents on peak performance parenting, which teaches you how to support your athlete without losing your mind. And then we also do a monthly Q&A with parents. So if you are like, yes, please help me be a better sport parent, we are not currently open for new members, but get on the wait list at performhappy.com and you will be the first to know when we do open up for new members. And then in the meantime, when all else fails, we have this little mantra in Perform Happy Parents. It goes, food, hugs, rides, tuition. Food, hugs, rides, tuition. Repeat. That's all you're responsible for. Food, hugs, rides, tuition. So if you are getting all stressed out and freaking out and like, your job, food, hugs, rides, tuition. If what you're stressed out about does not fall into one of those categories, you are free to let it go. You don't have to correct them. You don't have to communicate on behalf of them. It's just food, hugs, rides, tuition. And then the rest, they get empowered to do themselves. So if you have any questions, reach out. You can always send us a direct message here or on Instagram. I would love to talk to you about all things sport parenting. And then I will see you again soon. Thanks for being here. Bye.